Boos and Boobs podcast, and this is my other half.
Hi, I'm Katrina.
Welcome to our podcast. We hope you love it.
Alrighty, so episode 1. Are you excited?
Obviously.
Are you excited to talk about one of our favorite movies?
It's so good, but it's so bad. Like cringe.
But I think it's great.
Oh, definitely.
It's great, and obviously we made it the first episode of our podcast, so it's gotta be something.
We bonded over it.
We bonded. We were already friends, but then this just trauma bonded us, I guess. So our first episode, the first movie that we are doing a deep dive into is Creep. Yes. From 2014 from the Duplass brothers, which I guess until this movie, I didn't know they were like people. I told my friend and she's like, oh, the Duplass brothers, they do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, the guys from Creep. just Creep only.
That's all I know.
That's all I know. And that's all I care about. So it seems like some of the other things that they put out, I'm like, I like Creep.
Yeah. And it's one of those movies where I feel like if somebody is like wanting a recommendation that's not just any of the classics or basic, like not a lot of people haven't seen it that I'm aware of.
Oh no, like I feel like whenever I have dates or anything like that, I'm always like, have you watched Creep?
I mean, my nieces watch it. We've watched it like 5 times together, I feel like, or we've forced at least 5 other people to watch it with us. So we're hoping that you've already watched it because there will be spoilers and we're going to talk about just about everything in this.
The movie begins.
Yes.
With our guy, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the director, but his name is Aaron. Patrick Bryce is the director, and Mark Duplass is Joseph.
Yeah.
In the story, those are our 2 characters, Aaron and Joseph.
The only 2 characters.
Like, there's nobody else
in its entirety. You don't see another soul. Jinx.
You can't jinx me. We're on a podcast. I gotta talk. Well, no, you take the floor. You can say everything.
No, don't. Too much pressure. No, I'm just kidding. So it opens up and it's driving because he's getting $1,000 to record someone for 24 hours to do some kind of documentary, autobiography, video recording. I don't know how to explain it. But he's saying, oh, maybe it's some like older woman who wants a cute man to come comfort her, spend do quality time. And, it's up in these beautiful mountains. So obviously this person has money and they're offering a lot of money just for 24 hours. I mean, for $1,000,
$1,000 is a lot. I mean,
especially for just one day.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess whatever the ad was that Aaron answered is, like Katrina said, somebody to come and do like a 1-day video documentary where I assume this guy's going to have to film, edit, and produce whatever the finished product is going to be. That's the plan going into it.
Yeah.
Did we get that far? Gotta stick around and find out.
A lot of recording was done.
A lot of a lot of recording was done. But I do love the way that it starts out. It appears that, Aaron just has his little video recorder in his passenger seat kind of tilted up, which already kind of gives it like an unsettling view. Like you're tight in a car, you can just see him and he's just rambling like Katrina and I do now. But he's on his way to meet Joseph. He's excited to get his $1,000, and then he gets to the house that has a ton of stairs leading up to it, like a mountain house. And he knocks on the door and nobody's there. Nobody answers.
So after he knocks on the door, he kind of looks around, checking out his surroundings, which he should have done in the first place, honestly. So looking around, beautiful mountains, and then the camera just kind of focuses in on like an axe stuck in a tree stump.
Yeah, by his car.
Right.
That's just where he parked. That's just where he happened to park. And we're like, oh, we're going to need that later.
Yeah, that's a little foreshadowing.
Did we say that it's found footage?
I think we did. So the way that it's portrayed.
It's found footage. So Aaron's point of view is the camera.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. And I think with that, it's in the woods, people chop wood all the time. An axe really is not alarming.
Not yet.
True. Out of context, not alarming.
Exactly. So then Aaron gets back into his car and he tries to call Joseph. He's like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I thought we were meeting today. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we just get like a smack on the side of his window. And then some man just pops up like, hi, which is what Katrina does to me a lot.
I am Joseph. No, just kidding. No, but
I gotta go.
I can't, in this video or movie, I counted the number of jump scares and we came up with 10, but that's the first jump scare of the movie. And it's just, he's so happy-go-lucky. And then he pretends like, oh my gosh, did I startle you? I'm so sorry.
Ugh.
And then so Aaron gets out of the car, they meet, and instead of just doing the normal thing and shaking hands, Joseph's like, come in for a hug. And it's a very intimate hug.
It's a hug.
I'm like, I don't hug my friends like that at all. I don't hug my mom like that. Maybe it's just me.
No, they were hugging and Joseph was just saying like, I really feel like I want to get to know you. We're going to have this incredible experience together. They're going to go through some shit.
And he's kind of love bombing him because he's like complimenting him like, oh, you're a good, I don't know if he says it, you're a good looking guy. He gives him a hug. He's just giving him all these compliments. And it's just like, that's a lot.
I guess, yeah. And I'd also like to preface this episode, like as we're continuing to get into it, these are both normal ass looking men. And Katrina and I are both gay, but we can appreciate, and we're like, yeah, they're all right.
Yeah.
Aaron's really tall. Joseph is Mark Duplass, so I don't really have anything else to say.
I did find, when I was looking through reviews of this movie, I did find a lady saying she was so mad because she found Joseph so attractive throughout the whole movie. And I was like, you need therapy. I mean, we all do, honestly. But
if you're listening to this podcast,
you probably do.
Therapy. Oh, maybe BetterHelp will be a sponsor for us later.
Ooh, foreshadowing. We're putting it out into the world.
Yes, please. I need therapy. Anyways, but one thing that kind of goes into the fact, of our own sexuality is we were picking up on kind of like the homoerotic undertones that were going on when he's like, give me a hug. You're a good looking guy. And just the way that he was looking at him, he was like, I want to eat you.
Yeah.
He was like, hum, 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 hum.
If Erin had been a woman, more than likely she would have turned around and gone home right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, I like to say that women are smarter and that situation, but like truly the situation that set up everything that happens specifically in this movie.
It would seem like it's not his first time setting him up.
Also that.
Right. He sets it up, because the next thing that happens is they go into the house and he's just oversharing all of his trauma that's recent. Which is
very queer of him.
Yes,
I was watching
overshared
one last night. I have never watched it before, but so we're recording this May 11th, 2022. Never watched Are You the One before? So if you're listening to this in the future and you really love that show, good for you. But there's a queer season right now, and I guess the premise of the show is however many people are in there, they have been like psychosomatic, like matched up with other people that are in the house, and the game of the show is that you're supposed to figure out who your perfect match is. But the twist this season is that everybody's queer, so anybody could be a partner. It's not like there's 5 guys and 5 girls and they're supposed to meet up with each other. It's anybody. Can you imagine? To you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so, I'm gonna watch that.
It's intense. I watched a lot of it last night, very high, and I was just screaming about how like these people were interacting with each other and trauma dumping. Like it's the first day, like they're grabbing their hands and they're like, so my father never loved me, my mother doesn't approve that I'm gay. And I got such big creep vibes from it because he's just coming in. Joseph is just like, so here's the point of this documentary. Are you recording? Are you recording? I just want to make sure you're recording. Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Are you recording? Here's my story. Are you recording? But he's just like, so I have cancer. I beat it once. And then it came back in my brain. My wife, Angela, is pregnant with our son, Buddy.
Ugh.
Buddy.
Big ick.
Big ick. And he's like, he references some Bruce Willis movie that I've never seen where he makes some kind of a video diary to show his son because he knows he's going to die soon. So that's the premise of why he's there doing a video documentary in the first place. But just a trauma dump like that. And then Aaron behind the camera, he's like, whoa, dude, like, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Yeah. And Joseph is like, it's okay. And
then immediately after that, he's like, here's your money. Like, Aaron hasn't even been there 30 minutes. And Joseph's like, here's the full amount of money for your time, which I feel like is kind of guilting Aaron into, I have to finish this. I have to stay. So anything from here on out, it's like he's tied to him because of the money.
And that's the thing that anybody who looks at this movie can say, like, you know, just leave the money. You could leave, like, you can always leave. And kind of like a thesis or a hypothesis that Katrina and I have to prove is that this movie being set up between two men and having like an awkward energy, basically every situation that happens between Joseph and Aaron happens to women every single day, where we feel like we're guilted into things. We have to stay or act a certain way or say or not say things because of how it's going to be perceived. So we do things that make us uncomfortable, right? Because it doesn't disrupt the flow of whatever's going on.
Well, and even then it is about perception, but it's also about safety, because women reject men, or even not truly reject, but just say, oh, I'm good, leave, whatever. Yeah, they die. Women die because they reject men every day.
Anyways, so the first thing that happens,
the tubby.
The first thing that happens that Joseph wants Aaron to record is a faux tubby time where Joseph just runs up these stairs that are in the house after the foyer, runs upstairs. Aaron runs upstairs to try and find him. And he's like, where am I going in this house? And then Joseph is just stripping in the bathroom. And we thought the first time we saw it, we're like, is that peen? And it wasn't. It was Joseph's thumb like hanging out of the waistband of his pants. So he just strips down and he gets in the tub because he wants to do a video diary of him pretending that he's holding up his son, Buddy, and they're doing a tubby. I never called it a tubby when I took baths as a child.
Also, my parent was never in the tub with me.
I highly doubt that my parents ever were.
Well, not that I could remember. I don't remember a lot of my childhood, so truly, who knows?
That's why we have a podcast about horror movies. Crazy. But yeah, I like, and it just adds to the awkward energy. Like, this is a very strange thing. I am not maternal at all.
Neither of us want children.
But I don't hear and I don't ever see baths being taken with a parent. Like, showers, yes.
Right.
When like the kids are like a little bit older, but like still can't do everything themselves. But not tubbies. And I never called it a tubby. Like, makes me feel so uncomfortable. But Joseph is really putting on a show. He's staring right into the camera. So he's staring right at you, making you feel super awkward. Just being like, Alex, our tubby. And then he's, mimicking doing shampoo. And he's like,
oh, and he eats his toes, pretends to nibble on his toes. And
oh, they're so stinky.
Yeah. And then it's like the washcloth is Buddy, the baby. And he puts the baby over his face.
Yeah. And
is cuddling it on his chest. And first of all, there's candles all around the tub. That's romantic and not safe for a baby. So that's another red flag. But I feel like this initial tubby is just to see where he can get Aaron. What are Aaron's boundaries? How far can he kind of push him? Because this is just kind of the first test of what is he cool with?
Yeah. And it's insane. And then we kind of do a little bit of a cut and Joseph is in the tub just staring up at the ceiling. He gets all existential. He's like, what's the purpose of life? Like, we're all gonna die anyway. I'm gonna die. I have cancer. What if I just ended it right here? And he slowly sinks under the water, and Aaron like stands up to look at him, and the camera's still on him, and he's down there for a little bit, and Aaron's like, bruh, you good? And then Joseph just jumps out of the water, does another scare, and then Aaron's so concerned because he thought that he just witnessed this man, you know, having a moment. Like he's, you know, he knows he's gonna die, or he thinks he knows he's gonna die. And it was just a really fucked up thing to do, to like, and let Aaron also get emotionally invested in the story and then just like jump out and scare him. Yeah. And it's exactly that. It's completely testing boundaries. You're 100% right.
Well, and it's not just that, but it's like he's guilt tripping Aaron, and then he's like, oh, I got to make sure he feels bad for me. Oh, maybe I'm not even safe by myself. Like, you need to be around me for my safety. And I just read your note that says, I bet honestly he gives great massages, and I was trying not to laugh. Oh yeah, about the tubby.
He was pretending that he was giving Buddy like the little shampoo head massage, and the way he was just moving his fingers, I was just like, yeah, I bet that feels good. But I also am very fucked up, so I think that that's fine to say. I also have one of my notes in here about making suicide jokes, but I mean them, and then I put like, or do I? Because that's kind of my catchphrase is I wish I was dead, which is totally true, but please don't call the grippy stuff on me, because I have too much going on. Like, I got a job, I got a book to write, I got a dog to take care of. I don't have time for any of that.
But so after the tubby, they're getting ready to go on a hike to go see this like heart. Well, I don't know, heart.
Joseph just starts talking about how there's something in the woods that they need to go see that's really beautiful, and then there's like a spring
healing waters.
Like healing water, yeah. Exactly. And Aaron says something about not bringing like a jacket with him, so they could go to the woods. It's not necessarily referenced exactly like what time of year, but it doesn't look like it's super hot out. But also, I guess having a jacket on in the woods is good anyway for like scrapes and bugs and all that stuff. So Joseph just says, "Oh yeah, you can like borrow a jacket from the closet." And Aaron just goes up to this closet, pulls open the little like door curtain thing, and then there's this huge like wolf mesh just staring at him. So Aaron rightfully freaks out, and Joseph thinks it's so funny.
He set him up. Like that was such a setup.
I mean, it was really funny and very
it was funny.
But after you go back and watch it, you're like, Joseph, you motherfucker.
Which leads into his, and I want to know if his song was pre-written or if he just, because they say that most of this movie was just improv'd, a lot of, and just cut together in different, they said that they would like have an idea and they would improv some of the scenes and just kind of see what worked, see what didn't.
If we can figure out how to do it, we need to put in the song.
Yeah, we have in here insert clip of song ? So if we can figure it out, here you go.
Here's the little dance that he does while he's wearing this big mask.
Hello, my name is Peaches.
I'm Tony the rabbit. But then I can't remember what all the lyrics are, but then he just something and he's like, like this little growl, and it's just frightening. And then
creepy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then they go into the woods, and then Joseph does another jump scare. Just walks in front of Aaron a little bit. Aaron can't see him. And then he like, boom, comes out from being behind a tree. And Aaron is just like, I'm so fucking done with you. But he has to do his job.
And this is one of the times that we actually get to see Aaron, because Joseph is like, give me your camera. Let me show you what I'm looking at right now. And like turns the camera around onto Aaron and is like, you see that? You look like you wanted to kill me for a second. He's like, you got anger deep down inside. He's like, you got a killer inside of you, blah, blah, blah. Joseph asks him, who do you need to make peace with in this world before dying? And Aaron says his ex. And Joseph's like, did you say ex? Just as a reason.
Like, I have an ex at the house. He acts like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, you want to see my ex? Like, no.
I was like, we've already seen the ex.
Yeah, and then he asks,
bring up the ex.
He's like, did you see my ex? Did you think I was going to kill you with it? Like, were you worried? And he's like, I didn't think about it until right now.
I'm thinking about it now.
I was like, well, now I do.
Which is just a ton of red flag situations that happen to women all the time, where like People will show you their red flags and all of the scary things about them, and you're like, all the flags look the same color with my rose-colored glasses. And that's one of those things. Everything that's happening in this movie is kind of just on the other side of the line of being so far-fetched that it's like, I'm thinking too much into it. I am making this more of a big deal than it is.
Don't gaslight yourself.
If you think it's happening, it's probably happening. So get out of there. Call me. I'll pick you up. It's fine.
Don't gaslight yourself into a dangerous situation because you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Hurt their feelings.
They don't. You are more important than them 100% of the time.
100% of the time, especially when it's me.
Yeah.
But next clip, we kind of get into something that I love. Is so they finally find this miracle spring with the healing water. It actually exists. And Aaron's kind of like dumbstruck. He's like, wow, like this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Like they take off their shoes, they roll up their pants, they kind of just get in. They're, splashing the water on their faces.
They're anointing each other. Exactly.
It is. And then there's like the miracle rock or whatever that makes the water magical, so to speak. And the cutout in it kind of looks like a heart, and Joseph takes a little rock and carves in a J and an A. He's already told us that his wife's name is Angela, but if you're looking at a J and an A, who's at the miracle water spring? Joseph and Aaron.
Literally in the middle of the heart.
Yes. So
gay.
Interessante. And then like they're having a moment, like it is kind of sweet.
Yeah.
And then Joseph's just like, I'm hungry. You want pancakes?
And I feel like this heart moment is like when he has a little bit of trust in Joseph, because it's like, oh, Joseph's not lying. There really is something here and came through. So this just kind of bonded them and like just instilled the slightest amount of trust into Joseph. Or into Aaron. No, into Joseph. I was right. That's right. Anyway,
they're feeling each other, like they're having a good like bro moment. Then we get to this diner, which Katrina and I had to like play it back a couple times because we thought that we remembered seeing other diner guests, wait staff, but there's nobody. I think like one car moves outside in the window, like just as like a car passing by when they were filming, but you don't see another human this whole time. And we thought that we did in the diner, and it's just so strange that we didn't.
Right. Like, why is nobody taking their order? Like, but
the way it's framed, like you wouldn't see it anyway. It's completely on them in a booth, but it's just so interesting because I went to film school. One of the things is, you have background actors or you have things that make it feel real, like that there's people around doing things, talking, shopping, laughing, eating, blah, blah, blah. But there's no one. And when you notice it, it's so unsettling.
And now that you say that, it makes me wonder, maybe it's just trying to make you feel more isolated because the cabin is isolated. It's only Joseph and Aaron, and that's the only people you see. So it's like Aaron is just all by himself and he's isolated this entire movie.
Yes.
So, and maybe that's how some people feel, is that they're just disconnected and isolated because they don't have anybody extra. Like, he didn't tell anybody he was going out into the woods to record some man. If a woman is going into the woods to meet a stranger, you're telling somebody, you're sending your location.
If you're going down to the bar down the street, I'm texting you my location. I'm, tagging myself on Facebook so it can be seen where I am.
Yeah. At least be vindictive enough to get someone caught. Like, if I'm going to get murdered, someone's getting caught.
Yeah, exactly. So for all of the boomers who are like, you can't throw posting where you are everywhere. It's like, yeah, because if we don't and we disappear, how are you going to find it?
How do you explain all those serial killers in the 80s?
Yeah.
And the 70s? It's because it was so easy and it's harder now.
It's harder to be a serial killer now, man. That's why Joseph had to resort to online serial killing too.
Also, in the very end, you can see his progression, I feel like. Spoiler. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but you've seen it, but you know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it later.
One thing I do love about the diner is before they got there, Joseph said something about like, oh, they have really great pancakes. Are you excited for pancakes? Are you in the mood for pancakes? He gets to the diner. He's looking at the menu and he's like, I wonder what's good here. And then Aaron calls him out and he's like, I thought you liked the pancakes. And I love that because he's calling it out. He's not just going to be like, huh, interesting.
Right. He's not having an inner dialogue over, who said pancakes?
You said pancakes. You wanted pancakes. Why are we here? Where are the holes in your story? And then Joseph's like, oh, they just changed the menu. Mm-hmm. No, he's just a crazy person.
I was going to say the next part is basically he's asking Aaron, what are you ashamed of? Like, tell me something you're truly ashamed of. And so Aaron is like, okay, I guess I'm going to go deep here and tell him that I'm ashamed of, what was it? He peed. I don't even remember.
He like wet the bed longer than
normal, which that's not your fault. I don't know why that's a huge shame. Like, that's not an intentional. I feel like shame is more of an intentional act most of the time.
I mean, it can be. But one thing that I noticed, and I don't know, it just kind of hit me that it's like typically children, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not any of those things, but it's more common for children who have been abused, typically sexually abused,
right,
that they might wet the bed longer.
Yeah.
So I just think that whether it was intentional or not, but it's a movie, so everything is intentional. I'm a Swiftie, so everything is intentional always. Just leaving that little note so we could kind of come to that conclusion. And I think it also makes sense in that aspect for why Aaron would kind of continue to stay in this pseudo relationship with this person that he's met that is being so weird, because he's admitted, so to speak, that he's had bad things happen to him in the past. So it's just kind of one of those things is, sometimes once you're a victim, you're more susceptible to being a victim again.
Yeah.
And that's my analysis on that scene, whether or not it's completely true, but that was how I interpreted it. And I would love to hear other comments, or maybe if somebody even knows a little bit more about that scene, just to kind of get some feedback, because like once you notice it, it kind of
sticks.
So then after Aaron has shared his trauma about wetting himself, Joseph's like, well, I have something to confess. And he pulls out his phone and he's showing Aaron all of the pictures that he took of him before they met at the house. So when Aaron pulls up and he's going up the stairs, when he's knocking at the door, Joseph was there and he just took pictures of all of it. And Aaron is very rightfully creeped out. It's like, why did you do that? And Joseph's like, I don't know, I'm just scared to meet somebody and be vulnerable with them. But he's already gotten Aaron to be vulnerable with him. So Aaron can't be mad at it.
He can, but he can't. Yeah.
And then at this point, it's daytime. Like, sun's still out. We don't really have like a complete passage of what the time is. But then we cut to the movie cover shot where it is really dark back at the house, and Joseph is standing on the landing of the stairs, the outside stairs, with like the porch light behind him. So it's all silhouetted. So it's just like a figure of a man, and it's creepy.
Yeah. So then Joseph's like, oh, let's celebrate the day. Why don't you come in for a drink? Obviously, Aaron's like, no, thank you. It's late. I want to go home.
And Joseph's like, you can't leave. I want to kill you.
Exactly.
Basically. He doesn't say that, but it's bad vibes. Bad vibes.
I have on here in all caps, no means no.
Yeah, true. Because Aaron's like, like it's a long drive. We have to drive down this mountain, which, I mean, does take some kind of technical skill. Like, you got to pay attention.
Yeah. And honestly, personally for me, it is hard for me to say no to somebody, even if I don't know them. I know that Rachel has no issue saying no to anything.
I was going to say that's why I got you to do this podcast.
I did not say no. Me not saying no gets me in trouble more than anything else. I'm like, sure, whatever. But he says no multiple times. And then Joseph's like, I feel like this, and I feel like, and
he's like, come on, I'm just going to pour you a whiskey.
Finally, he gets Aaron inside. They have their whiskey and they start talking. And then Joseph starts asking about money. He's like, he asked him like oh, we're friends. Like, why did you take this job? And he's like, did you take it for the money? Obviously, he took it for the money, bro. Why else would he take it? And I think Joseph's a little like sad. Like, oh, I thought we were friends. No, bro, it's the money.
Well, yeah. And then he's like, look in your shoe. Like, I have money in your shoe. And Aaron looks at it. And then he's like, oh, well, you looked at it. So that does mean you're having money problems. And it's just an awkward thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of annoying and rude. And Aaron has done his work for the day. So he's trying to leave.
Yeah.
Like, he's like really, really trying to leave. He's looking around for his keys. He can't find them. He's like, oh, you know, like, I got to get back. I got to do all this stuff. Where are my keys? Where are my keys? Where are my fucking keys? And Joseph is just sitting there at the little table. And then honestly, it's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Just the way that this section, like, we're in a different movie now. Like, it was creepy and weird and uncomfortable before, but now it's intense. Joseph says, I lied to you. Just like that. And now you know we're in some shit. So my note on here says, we go from happy-go-lucky weirdo to danger, danger, alarm bells, bye. Those are my notes, because I mean, I'm going to say it as a woman. I'm like, now we got to go. We got to go. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And Aaron can't find his keys. Where are his keys?
And Joseph's not helping him look for them.
Oh, no.
He's just sitting at the table and goes, I lied to you. And I'm like, he's just trying to reel him back in. He's like, I'm losing him. I need something to keep him here.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Let's tell a fucked up story.
But Joseph is like, I'm going to tell you something, but I don't want it to be recorded.
Which, you know, it's bad because he wants everything recorded. Yeah, he says, never shut it off.
Scary. But Aaron is smart. And he either puts the lens cap on or messes with his camera, so it's not actually recording anything. The next part that happens is a black screen, but we can still hear everything. So there we go. Do you want to tell the story?
I can try. I think that Joseph does a really good, like, the actor does a really good job of, like, the storytelling in this portion with his pauses. It really just keeps you like, first of all, you're like, what the fuck?
Well, and it's a black screen, so you have to pay attention to all the sounds.
You have to listen to every single word that this guy is saying.
It's like the opposite of A Quiet Place, where that's all visual and they're like very minimal sounds.
Right.
Now you're just like hanging onto every word.
It's a
great tactic. Beautiful film.
And I mean, every movie I watch has the subtitles on it. And I was trying so hard not to read them before he was saying them so that I could hear it as he was saying it.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
So he starts off and he's like, well, the internet was slowing down. And I called some IT guy, I don't know. And they said, oh, check your cookies, clear your cache, do all this. And so he was looking through his search history and he's like, there was animal, like, I think it was animal porn or something like that, which makes me believe it's just animals and animals.
I don't think so.
It could.
I think it was bestiality that he was referencing. He
may have been trying to put it lightly that it was but at the same time, like, why is he putting anything lightly at this?
Yeah. So then he says, I wasn't the one doing those searches, and there's only one other person that uses the internet. His wife, Angela. Which
obviously doesn't know about the private.
Yeah. Everybody,
in private browsing.
VPN. Also, don't look at bestiality. Don't.
No, that's a hard no.
Don't do that. Hard limit. It just adds to the insanity of the story. But then he goes on. I'm going to take over because that was part.
Go for it.
Joseph is just saying that he brought his wife up to the cabin where they're staying, like where they are now. And then he said that he told his wife that he had to go leave for the night or something because he had like a work thing and then he was going to come back. But then he says he went to the 99-cent store and got his peach fuzz mask, the wolf mask. I'm like, this mask is so intricate. It's not $1, but no. Anyway, he's the one telling the story. And then he says that he breaks into his own house and then he and his wife have like animalistic, primal, crazy, rough sex. And that he could see how much she was enjoying it. And then he left And then he came back the next day, like as himself, like as planned, and they never spoke of it. And Angela had like some sly little smile on her face, but then the internet speed started to go back up again. So all Girly needed was just to get railed by a furry, which like I do whatever you want. I'm not going to talk about it.
Which I think furries in the woods is like a theme anyway, right? Like that's where they meet.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not my kink, but I'm not going to kink shame. Do whatever you have to do. Just be old enough to consent, and
don't tell me about it.
Kids or animals, please. Thanks. Bye.
And then
it's such a weird story to tell.
And he ended it. He's like, I raped my wife, Aaron. I raped my wife. But I'm like, okay, no. Like it's either sex or it's rape. Correct. It's not both. Because he's like, oh, we had animalistic, like rough sex. And then he's like, I raped my wife. Then it wasn't animalistic sex. It was rape.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because it's also a black screen. So we're not getting any body language. We're not getting any reactions, no facial expressions, no nothing. You're just hearing this story.
And obviously we can't ask Angela.
And Angela's not there. But that's just one of those things that's also so creepy. And I guess we can talk a little bit about, beyond the scope of like, did it actually happen? It's like, but when he's coming across it, he's like, I raped my wife. And it's like, but did you? Like, was it sex or was it rape? Like, who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's half true. If he's just like basing it on a story he heard somewhere else. Like, we have no idea. But first of all, anybody that would claim this and own this, completely fucked in the head. Like,
but it's so weird and so unsettling, everything about it. But then Aaron's like, I gotta go. I gotta leave now. It's pretty late. So where are my keys? And just doesn't say anything. And then we just kind of cut to the video's back, the things on Joseph. You can see Aaron in the background. He's looking for his keys. He's like walking in and out of the kitchen, doing stuff in the background. And then you can kind of see Aaron in the back, like standing over at the counter, not doing anything, just trying to get him to stay, have just one more shot, which is something that my sister and I always say to each other, and which gets us in trouble. But it's fine. Neither of us have killed each other or anybody else that I know of yet.
There you go.
I don't know. She's crazy, so maybe. But not me yet. But then we kind of discover when Joseph takes his drink, he's like, this tastes weird. So Aaron has drugged Joseph.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which I love.
Good job.
I love that he did that. Like, he knew he was so unsafe. He knew he couldn't get out of here. He doesn't know where his keys are. But he is incapacitating his captor and assailant, like this person that's making him super uncomfortable, this complete stranger.
Well, because after this story, you can tell that Aaron is trying to be more firm. Like, where are my keys? I need to leave. It's no more. He's lost a lot of, lost a lot of the niceties that he had before, because he's like, this is not safe. If he's able to treat someone he supposedly loves like that, what's he going to do with a complete stranger?
Yeah. It's creepy.
So after he's like, oh, that tastes funny. And he's trying to record like a closing, like, bye, buddy. Hope you like my video, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
Buddy. Just shut up. Stop.
So
anyway.
creepy.
So cuts to Aaron.
Joseph is just passed out.
Yeah. Just passed out on the fireplace mantle, which I read somewhere that people thought that he was faking it.
That he was faking being asleep?
Yes. That he wanted Aaron to think that he was asleep. And I hadn't considered that.
I could see it either way.
Because you don't know how much time has passed between the drink and the fireplace mantle.
Yeah. I mean, and we kind of come to find out that it was like a bunch of Benadryl.
Right.
That Aaron.
Which can like, if you overdose on Benadryl, you can get fucked. Like, it will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Because you can metabolize it into worse things.
Yeah. So there is, quote unquote, a sleeping Joseph. So we think, whether it's true or not. Now I'm also
questioning.
So, okay. Well, anyway, there's a snoring Joseph, whether he's awake or not. And then Aaron is kind of digging in his pockets. And then he does find his keys. But then Joseph is like stirring, and then his phone goes off.
So fucking loud.
So I counted it as a jump scare.
I did count it, because I mean, Aaron jumped, we jumped. Also, in between, like when he's trying to fall asleep, one of the cringiest parts is Joseph has his hand down his pants and he's like, peach fuzz. And I'm
oh my God, yes.
Please stop. That's what I was like, maybe he wasn't sleeping because he did that maybe to like prove I don't know. But he finds the phone, grabs it, runs to the bathroom.
Yeah, because somebody's calling Joseph's phone.
Right. And he can't find his keys still. I don't think he ever found them.
Were they not in his jacket?
I don't think so. he left his, I don't think he ever got his keys. Yeah. So he answers the phone and he's whispering in the bathroom and she thinks,
Angela.
yes. And he's on the phone like, what is going on? I can't find my keys.
I'm with your husband doing a documentary. And homegirl's like,
husband.
What? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? What's going on? And Aaron's like, I'm Aaron. I'm the video documentary guy. I'm here with your husband to do a video.
For your baby.
Oh, yeah. And this is also just another creepy part to it when she's like, because she said something about Joseph, basically saying that like that's her brother. And there's only one mention of it, Angela. So we just are obviously assuming that Joseph has made up whatever stories that he has told. But that Aaron needs to get out of that house right now. There's no more context to it. Aaron just says, am I in danger? And Angela's on the phone like, just get out. Don't look for your keys. Don't like worry about your car. Just start walking.
Tell me where you are. I will come find you. Like,
did she say that?
I think she says like, "I'll tell me where you are and I can head that way." I think she was going to start heading that way.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think she never made it there.
And there's no indication of anything else. Like this is really just kind of a one-off scene. We never hear anything about them again. We don't have any other background. It's just someone on the phone named Angela says my brother is not well.
Right. Is dangerous.
Because he's like, I know about the cancer. And she's like, I'm not that kind of unwell.
Right. And then I think she even like references him as dangerous. Like my brother is not well. He like, get the fuck out.
Get out of the house.
If someone's sister is telling me to get out of their house, I'm gone.
Aaron he comes out of the bathroom and Joseph's no longer on the mantle. And he's looking around and it's just like the camera POV that he's holding on to. And he's like going through different rooms of the house. And you're like,
oh my God, I was so tense.
Where is Joseph? But then he kind of sees out of the corner of his eye that the little sliding glass door out on the patio is open. And I assume that that's, just a patio that doesn't have like stairs that lead down because he doesn't leave.
Right.
He just stands out there.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and guess who's there?
And right before that, I counted the jump scare for the trash bags that were hanging on. First of all, who hangs their trash bags on the hooks? Is it to keep animals? I don't know. But he like turns the corner to the trash can and there's bags there. And it scared me because he did it so fast. But yeah, he ends up on the patio with Joseph, which I think it's a second story because it's a
second story patio because you already go up all the stairs, go in the house, and then there's stairs from the foyer going up to,
and
like,
down.
The living kitchen area, and then there's a patio off there. I just don't think that there are stairs that connect to the ground.
It didn't look like it.
Because if that would have been me, I just would have been like, beep, 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 beep.
Honestly, I think I could survive a 2-story over a patio.
Well, yeah, and onto like the forest dirt, like.
Just don't twist your ankle.
Yeah,
because
like, it's not going to feel good, but you're probably going to survive it.
Right.
And Joseph is just like standing right there, like the camera lights all in his face. It looks distorted. He looks way out of it. So like maybe it's the Benadryl, maybe he's tired, maybe he's a psychopath.
All of the above.
Who knows?
And then I think when Aaron turns around, he's like, it's coming.
Yeah. Who's coming? What's coming?
I'm like, that's really vague. I feel like he's talking about death. I feel like he's saying death is coming.
Something's coming.
Right. And I'm like, can we not?
Yeah. And then Aaron, he's just trying to like play it cool. He's like, hey buddy, like where are you going? Like, what are you looking for? And then
I think Aaron fucks up right here.
Yeah, he's like, I talked to Angela.
Oh.
You don't ever tell anybody your plan.
No, and then he books it.
Yeah,
Joseph
runs. He's gone.
I'm like, you now you lost visual again.
Exactly. He runs down the stairs like towards the front door in that little foyer area. Just like there's no grace to it. He's just like like how teenage boys run down the stairs. Like thinking that if they go wider, it makes them faster, like spreading their legs and like bam, 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 bam.
Probably slap the top banister thing. He didn't do that, but that's
there wasn't a top banister, it's too high, but like exactly like that. That is the visual that I want to give to you.
Yeah.
And then Aaron's like, okay. Ugh. And then so he goes down the stairs and looks at the front door.
Worst thing possible right now.
It's not good. Joseph is standing there right in front of the door with his back to the door, wearing a Peach Fuzz mask. And I'm sure if you've seen any part of this movie or any kind of like a thumbnail for it, I'm sure you've seen this image where he's wearing the mask and he puts his hands on the door and then he's like making these little grunting noises and growling, and then he starts like shimmying his ass back up against the door like he's rearing up to go do something. And Aaron's like, are you gonna let me go? And Peach Fuzz is just like, no, like shakes his head, no, like no sound other than like the
which is getting faster and louder.
Yeah, like
as this scene progresses, he's still rubbing himself against the door and is not talking anymore. It's like he
is an animal.
He became Peach Fuzz basically at this point.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell. And then you kind of don't know what's going to happen here, like what's going on. But then Aaron did the right thing. At least it looks like from the camera angle, it looks like Aaron charges up against Joseph.
Yes. Yeah.
And whatever happens, because we get a little bit of like camera shaking and then it just kind of stops. And then what do we cut to next, Katrina?
The next scene is a video of Joseph dragging heavy ass black trash bags up a hill.
And then he starts digging.
In this, okay, first of all, this dirt is really hard. He's on an incline. I feel like whatever he's burying here is gonna wash away. Anyway, not the point.
Well, and
but it's so
what's in the bag,
right? You're like, it's lumpy, it's heavy. You're like, oh my god, that's Aaron. Aaron's dead. Aaron's in that trash bag. And then after, I don't know, like a good minute at least, the camera moves and it's Aaron saying, I just got this video in my thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, but it was such a good fake out because when you're watching it, you're kind of also like, well, what the heck? It's only been like 40 minutes.
Right. Like we still have 30 minutes of this. Like,
so that was such a good twist. So now Aaron is back in his house and he received like a DVD that Joseph recorded himself burying something. We don't know what it is, but it's just creepy. And then Aaron, he's just like, I just want to let it go. I want to be over it. He doesn't make mention of talking to any of his friends about it, anything like that. And I made a note here. It's like, women so often want to disassociate and pretend their assaults didn't happen, which is so true. Like, you just kind of want to like move on.
Right. And I feel like maybe like Aaron as a man was like, oh, this is embarrassing. I allowed myself to get in a situation that was dangerous and stupid. And truthfully, we never really hear him talk to anybody, family, friends, at all. And I'm like, well, maybe it's because we trauma dump and we share everything. But I'm like, he's not telling anybody. He's not talking to anybody. I think he's just trying to, like you said, pretend it didn't happen.
Well, and that's kind of the other note that I have in here. It's like women want to disassociate from their assaults, but men will admit that they were involved in a situation, but they'll justify it.
Yeah.
Because it's always somebody else's fault that they did the thing, whatever the thing is. But I just thought that was a very interesting dynamic because so many of these awkward, uncomfortable situations, obviously it's dramatized from being in a movie, but very similar situations and feelings that are happening between Joseph and Aaron happen to women every single day. Yeah. And it's so unsettling to like be able to name it and call it out.
Well, and maybe it's because like men don't, and I mean, I feel like gay men probably get that because they date other men, but like when you're single and not even in the date, like they're not even dating and he's having these issues of this man that is pursuing him for whatever reason, and he won't stop. Yeah. And he's like, I didn't do anything to deserve this. He's like, I didn't do anything wrong. Right. And so in that, he's like, maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's this. But the next thing that we go to is Aaron is talking about his nightmares, where he says that he had a dream that he was having a tubby with Aaron. Or no, it was in a hot tub. Yeah. They were doing a tubby with Joseph.
In a hot tub.
And then all of a sudden, like the water turned to like blood, and they were pouring like water on each other. And if you've seen Creep 2, I feel like that's kind of foreshadowing.
No spoilers for that one though.
No spoilers, but I feel like it's a foreshadow of some sort.
Yeah. So there is a Creep 2, by the way.
I don't think it's as good, but
it's just a very different situation.
That
would be a great podcast episode for later, especially to talk about what the differences are between a man
and a woman. Right.
Exactly.
I have on here, he was talking to me, he's like, I don't know why I'm having these nightmares. And I'm like, that's called trauma, baby.
Yeah,
that's my note.
That's literally what dreams are. My dreams are insane every single day, but that's
thank God I don't remember most of mine.
Mm-hmm. And then the next day, Aaron gets a big box on his doorstep, has another DVD in it, has a heart locket with a picture of Aaron inside of it, one of the pictures that Joseph took of him from outside his house. And then on the back of it says J and A, because it's what? Joseph and Aaron.
Forever.
Oh, does it say forever?
No, I just put that on there.
Oh, well.
We can insinuate.
Disgusting.
But what's weird about the locket, other than it says J and A and it's a locket, was that he put it in where inside the baby wolf that he made him cut open with the knife he provided.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, he sends him a DVD.
Yeah, and he's like, feel free to take the knife and dig deep, or like he's insinuating.
There's a knife, the DVD, and then there's like a little stuffed wolf,
mm-hmm.
and then Joseph tells him to like take the knife that he sent and cut inside of the baby wolf.
Yeah.
And then inside of that is a locket.
Right. And because he calls Aaron the baby wolf. He's like, there's a little peach fuzz inside you or something like that. Yes. And I'm like, ugh, nope. No, thank you.
I don't want any peach fuzz inside me. Thanks.
And then I think I have a note on here because he says, oh, that video was messed up. I'm sorry, but you drugged me. So now we're even. No.
Mm-mm.
No. That's not how that works.
Well, and that's what men do anyway. It's like, you take our self-preservation as
defense,
like retaliation,
mm-hmm.
and then you have something to like hold over us. It's like, no.
Even if he hadn't drugged him, he would have been like, you were rude to me because you wanted to leave. Is it because I told you I raped he would find some way to blame Aaron no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a very winnable situation. But then, because it is so creepy, Aaron finally calls the police. And I say finally because we don't really know how much time has gone by, but at least some time.
At least a week or two. I think it's been a couple weeks.
I think so.
Because he's like, there's no return. I think he said the first video arrived like a week later, and then the second gift was like a week later. So I think he's like waiting a week or two between each gift.
Oh, so creepy.
Yeah.
But he calls the police, and like the shot is Aaron is changing his door locks while he's on the phone with the police. And he's like, I answered an ad. There was some guy. He did this, that, and the other. And then now I'm getting stuff sent to my house. And the police are just like, well, unless there's been a crime, we can't do anything for you, which happens all the time.
Yeah, because truthfully, the only crime that was committed was that Aaron drugged Joseph.
Truly.
So far, the only true crime that has happened is that.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you could probably try and say kidnapping because he was hiding his keys, like not letting him leave.
I guess false imprisonment could have been like, or like kidnapping or imprison, like something like that. Yeah, that's true.
But then you'd also,
there's no proof.
If you're really going to get into that, then, that happened in a different county because Aaron had to drive a ways away. We don't know where.
Well, and then the police are like, okay, well, what's his name? What's his address? He's like, I don't know. I don't know his last name. I don't know his real name. I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah, I just know that stuff shows up at my doorstep. It's creepy. And then the police are just like, later days.
Everything's a lie. Everything is a lie. How is he gonna?
But that happens to women all the time too. Like, even when women have proof and can say things, it's just like, well, until a crime happens. But then after a crime happens, like, no, I didn't see this coming. And we're like, well, we did, but now we're dead.
Yeah.
So.
And it's, women get stalked and harassed every day. And we say every day, but it's every day.
It's every day.
It's multiple women every day, all day, around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you probably know somebody that has been stalked. I have a very close personal friend that was stalked when she was in college, or just after college when she was going to school, and the police wouldn't do anything. She would get phone calls after phone calls. They would leave stuff on her doorstep. The only reason it got to stop is because her friends and family set up like a calling thing, and they would harass him to call him at all hours and like threaten him. And like finally it stopped, but I'm like, that was dangerous.
So now we're into the best part of the movie, right?
Yes. Where it really starts getting juicy.
Yeah. The police won't do anything for Aaron, and he goes to sleep, and he just wakes up because he hears something outside.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what happened.
No, I think he was telling a dream
about his dreams and like how he's still really scared.
Yes. He's like, he just had another nightmare. It's the same nightmare. It keeps happening and happening. He's like, his instant reaction is, okay. And he's walking around. He's locking the doors. He picks up, was it a bat? Like, no, he picked up a knife or something.
Yeah, he picked up a knife. Like, he's walking around. He's turning all of his lights on. He's like, okay. He's not fucking around.
He makes a full circle. And the next jump scare is where where he walks out of his living room, and just in the distance at his front door, because that's where he left his camera facing.
His camera is in his bedroom, facing outside into like the living kitchen, like meet up point, and just past that is his front door, which is a screen door.
Dumb.
Like a glass window door, like there's no protection at that door. You can just see everything in and out of it. And who's there?
Cinnamon's doing the knocking for us.
Oh,
and then it's just Joseph.
He's
just standing, not saying a word, not knocking. He's just standing there. And then you see Aaron come in front of the screen again, and he's gone in an instant.
Yeah, but like you see him like duck down. Like that's one of the things I really like about it is it's real.
Yeah. And it's like it looks like all one scene of like just a continuous recording of all of this happening.
Yeah.
And he hears something outside. So he goes outside.
Oh my God.
Don't go outside.
To investigate strange lights. And he takes his camera, like he's in there, he hears something. He goes out his front door. We see him like walk around, and he's got like a little driveway. And he's going up there. And
then he goes down the side of his house. And then to the back of his house, his trash can is knocked over, and he's like, damn raccoons. Yeah. No. It's never the raccoons. Don't blame the raccoons.
Yeah. But then in there, like in his garbage, you can see like the gifts and stuff that Aaron sent him that he threw away.
One of the parts I found funny is when he was pacing the house trying to see, he's like, who's there? Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Also because if anybody answered, just kill me. Don't answer, just murder me. Like
at that point, it's not worth it.
No.
My fight or flight is like I'm flying away from like this existence. Like I gotta go. Yeah. But then Aaron doesn't call the police, doesn't do anything. He just goes back to bed, but he's like recording himself. And then he does end up falling asleep.
Oh my God. The next scene, I can't because you see a recording of Aaron sleeping, and then the fucking camera gets picked up and is moving, and you're like, oh my God, because that's fucking Joseph while he's sleeping recording him. And then he sets the camera back down after he kind of like rotates it around, and he picks up his hair and just a little chunk, and then cuts it. And then the recording's over. Maybe Aaron doesn't review the recordings like of his. Maybe he didn't. I don't think he was recording that. I think Joseph started the recording and ended the recording. I don't know if that was on Aaron's personal camera or on Joseph's camera, but I assume it was on Aaron's camera.
I think it was on Aaron's.
Like, review the footage, bro. Because if he had reviewed the footage of Aaron in the doorway, Aaron cutting his hair,
because he wakes up and then he just starts recording himself like it's the next day. And then there's a little slit in his window screen that's right by his bed.
Like
then,
right where his head is.
Yeah, like here's the window, here's his bed, like his bed's right next to the window, a little slit. And then on the inside of it is another fucking DVD.
Oh, enough. Like enough. And he said, like, didn't it say like final one or like last one or something like that?
If the DVD said like the last video, but when Aaron plays it, he's like, this is gonna be my last video.
Yeah. And
he's like, I understand, like he's finally getting the hint,
right? Kind
of a thing. And then Joseph is recording himself and he's talking to the camera and he's like, I'm just like a really lonely person. And I wrote like, me too, but not like that.
Not lonely enough.
I'm not lonely enough. I am not lonely enough to stalk you and send things to your house. I'm not going to pay for the post office to send stuff to your house. Like, I'm not that lonely, I guess.
Yeah.
Fan fiction has been very kind to me. I'm not that lonely.
That should be your next book is I'm not that lonely.
I'm not that lonely. But Joseph is at this beautiful lake. He's recording himself. Like he's just sitting like in like a park lake kind of a thing like that. It's not where they were for like the magical healing water. Like we're in a new setting now.
Public.
Are there people in the background there?
I don't know, but it is a public lake.
People could be there.
Yes.
But I just can't remember if they are.
I don't know if they are in Joseph's video or not. And I don't know if it's the time of year where people go to the lake.
Yeah, because I feel like they're pretty much always in like long sleeves and pants and stuff like that. Like nobody's shivering. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But they're covered.
I just remember like the jogger pants, like the windbreaker pants that Joseph's wearing the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I just imagine
like a little like they're like athletic.
They're like,
there's like a little line up his butt.
Yeah. I just imagine when he was doing the peach fuzz at the door, like that there was a squeak sound because it's like when it's one of those ones where when your thighs touch. Yeah, when your thighs touch, it's like exactly.
This is how we have to like talk ourselves out of it because it truly is like so terrifying.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's not that it's like a scary movie, but like it's so haunting and dreadful and it just like sticks with you, especially like if you're calling these things out as like stalking and threats and weird vibes. Like,
it's real.
It's scary.
Yeah. And it's not like the Blob or whatever. Like I'm not afraid of a giant man-eating blob coming to eat me.
I'm scared of men.
I am, yeah, men are the worst.
Crazy men.
All men are crazy. So yeah, that makes that tracks.
Yeah, I'm scared of all of them.
Here, I feel like Joseph is trying to prey on his kindness one more time because he's like, I'm lonely. I'm sorry. Forgive me again. No, you don't even get one forgiveness. One and done.
I mean, if you get that much from me. But he's like, meet me at this lake. It's public. He says it's public. He's like, I can't remember if he's like, we start all over or anything like that.
I think it's just like to clear the air.
Yeah.
Let me explain myself. And I understand wanting an explanation just to get it. I think Aaron's just trying to rationalize, like, why is this happening? What is he doing? Like, what is wrong with him to make him do this? And he wants to understand. And sometimes you just can't. You just have to accept the fact that people are fucking crazy and move on with your life. Go to therapy. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the next scene, Aaron, either like on the hood of his car or right inside of his car, has set up this very, very long, wide shot of the lake in the background. And he's, saying, he's like, I'm going to get you. Like, I'm recording you. Ha, 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 ha.
I got 911 on speed dial.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I got 911 on speed dial, which, like, don't we all? Like,
I mean, but not back then. Flip phones.
2014?
Well,
I didn't have a flip phone in 2014.
I don't know when I had. No, I guess I didn't because that was after college. No, that was during college.
But he says he's got 911 on speed dial. So maybe his finger is just on it. Anyway, he is telling the audience that he is being prepared for the situation. Like he's ready for it to go south.
Prepared would have been a friend. Prepared would have been police.
But it kind of established like he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have anybody. He doesn't, like, there is nobody else for him to talk to. We have to assume, because if there was somebody for him to talk to, he would have talked to them.
If he wasn't a loner. And maybe that's why Aaron relates to Joseph because he says, I'm so lonely. Well, so is Aaron. Aaron has nobody.
We didn't know background on anybody.
No
like
parents.
Everything that's happening is just what is happening in the moment. And that's all it is. But it's enough. Like it's telling the story. I don't need to think piece anything else. All
we know is that he has an ex-girlfriend. That's it.
Oh, well, we assume it's an ex-girlfriend. Did he say girlfriend?
I think he did.
Oh, well, I go both ways. Anyways.
He can too.
So Aaron goes and walks and sits at this park bench that's overlooking the lake. And we kind of just hang on that shot for a minute. Nothing is happening.
Why is your back to the parking lot? If you don't trust this man, why is your back to the parking lot? And I think that's because he's a man. He just is like, no one's going to hurt me.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Because what happens, Katrina? What happens next?
Listen, I don't want to talk about it, okay? Because the sound... Okay, anyway. So Aaron is sitting on this park bench. He's just kind of... I don't know if he's contemplating life. We don't really get to find out.
He's just sitting there.
He's just sitting there. He's facing the... Now, there is a moment where you hear this chainsaw just rear up in the background, and he does startle and jump a little bit and look around. And then he's like, oh, somebody's just cutting wood. It's good to go. And then that chainsaw just kind of continues a little bit in the background as we go, just a lot quieter. My question is, did that cover up Joseph approaching from behind? Because the next thing that we see is Joseph walking up directly behind him to the bench and just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And he stands there
for a minute too.
Yeah.
Like, so this shot takes a little while, and it's just
building.
Dreadful. The whole time you're like, turn around.
Yeah, you're screaming at him, and he's like, he can't hear you. And obviously.
Yeah, I'm talking to a movie. And then Joseph is wearing like some kind of like a
trench coat. Yeah.
And he puts on the peach fuzz mask. Like, you see him like pull it out from his under his jacket, and he just puts on the peach fuzz mask.
And the way that he opens his trench coat to reveal the axe from the very beginning of the movie.
Beautiful.
The axe in the tree stump, the axe that he asked, did you think I was going to kill you? I have an axe back at the house. Well, now he has an axe
in his hands
and
directly.
Aaron's
not moving, nothing.
Not reacting. And then he just holds the axe above his head.
Like, he's waiting. Joseph is waiting for Aaron to do something.
He's like testing him again. He's like, this is your final test. Mm-hmm. And he never turns around. He swings down, and you just hear
Joseph he chops right into Aaron's head, and Aaron just slumps over.
I want to know what they used for that sound. I want to know what the sound that they used for that was, because it was haunting. It was
a sound.
It sounds exactly what it should sound like.
And I don't want to know what that sounds like. I shouldn't know.
Exactly.
Through a skull sounds
We're not going to test it. We're not going to know. But I imagine that's exactly what it sounds like. And he just slumps over and is just sitting there. And then Joseph walks. Well, no. I think he walks out of frame.
I think because he comes in from the right, and then he walks back out to the right.
Yeah.
And then the scene pauses. Like we have been watching this whole thing on a TV, and then
in fucking Joseph's basement.
Yes. And then the camera that was recording the TV that just got paused turns around, and it's Joseph
saying,
he's talking to Aaron.
You were one of the best. I loved you the most. Like, he said, you were so trusting and so kind. Like, you didn't deserve that. Like,
yeah, he's just talking it out. He's like, we just really connected. Like, I could see that, like, you were a truly kind person, and everything I put you through, like, you stuck by me.
Mm-hmm. He's like, and he's just breathing heavy, and he says, you'll always be my favorite.
Yeah. And it's so creepy, because now we know that us watching this has been Joseph just watching this.
Putting it, like, compiling it, editing it, because he obviously stole Aaron's recording equipment and tapes.
Well, yeah, and then it's also kind of a really hopeless thing, because it's like, as we are watching it and we're like, Aaron, do this, Aaron, do this. Oh no, Joseph, don't do that. It's too late.
It's all past.
It's too late. Everything has already happened. We're just kind of stuck with it. And Joseph is so proud of himself but also really sad that like now he doesn't have this person because he killed him.
Right. And he's like, oh, you're me. But our final jump scare though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's before or if it's.
Well, it's because he's sitting there and then he like pushes play again.
Oh, okay.
On the recording.
Yeah.
And then Joseph turns his camera back to the TV of the video we've been watching the whole time. And then out of nowhere, Joseph just pops up and jump scares the camera and jump scares him watching it. And he's like, Aah! It's kind of like
he loved it so much.
Scares me. I imagine that's probably what I look like. It's pretty.
And
animated.
I thoroughly enjoy scaring her.
Yeah.
It's a pastime. I've only been hit like twice.
It's okay.
Just kidding. No, really.
And then it cuts, but we get one more scene and we hear a phone call and we see just shoes moving, walking around a house. It's a new house. We've never been here before. And it's Joseph on the phone talking to somebody else about answering an ad to do a video documentary. And he's just kind of walking and talking through like, oh, hey, yeah, we'll meet at my house. This is what I'm looking for. You sound like a good dude. Like, we're going to be friends. Like, this is going to be a good thing for us. And he's just being like so calm and reassuring, but we're terrified because we know he's just going to do this to somebody else. And he's just going to kill someone else. But then he opens up his little cabinet kind of a thing. And then he just puts a little DVD that has Aaron's name on it. And it's next to a bunch of other DVDs and videos, like VHSs that have other men's names on it. So he's done this before and he's going to do it again.
Many times.
Yeah, tons.
He's good at choosing people, obviously, because Aaron was a loner. And I don't know how he screens them because he really wasn't showing how he screened this person.
Yeah, he was just talking and he's like, we're gonna
oh, this is Bill. Blah, blah.
Yeah. He calls himself Bill. Like, he doesn't say his name is Joseph in the next one. He says his name is Bill. But then one thing I noticed on this rewatch is the diner that they go to for the pancakes is called Billy Bear. So that's just, I'm making a connection, but what you will find out in Creep 2 is that there's nothing that Joseph does that doesn't have a meaning to it. Like, he's also a Swiftie. So him calling himself Bill and then the diner's name being Billy Bear, just to me, it means that he's just pulling from whatever story he had before and moving on to the next.
Because in Creep 2, his name has a meaning, obviously.
Yeah. But
his new name.
In that episode to find out what it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that's our review walkthrough of Creep.
Yes.
It's creepy. It's on Netflix. As of this recording, it has been on Netflix. Oh my God. We need to tell a story of like how we found this movie.
Oh, maybe we can. Yeah. Well, okay. Go for it.
We were just hanging out and we both like scary movies and we just were searching through. We didn't know what we wanted to watch on Netflix.
We're just like, let's find a random horror movie. We have wine. We just want to watch something new.
Yeah.
We didn't want to rewatch.
Yeah. We had no real direction. And then this thing just like popped up. It was called Creep. It had like the silhouette of a man standing outside. We didn't know what was going on. And we were just like, yeah, sure. Why not? And the movie was so scary. Like Katrina said, we had a little bit of wine. We were watching it. And then the scene where Joseph just pops out at Aaron's house, like from behind the door. I was leaning against the wall on my bed with my wine glass in hand. I just fight or flight. I was so scared. I screamed. I thought I was going to try and throw the wine. Katrina like grabs it out of my hand and sets it down. She was like, no more for you. It was just so creepy. It just brought us in. It sucked us in totally. What was that one review?
Oh, I have it on here. So after we did our rewatch and we wrote our notes, I was trying to look at some reviews just to see what other people thought about it. And I screenshot this review. I think it's on IMDb or this person I was so angry after reading this because it's so frustrating. So the title is Doesn't Scare You, Just Frustrates You. They wrote, I heard good things and there are a lot of positive reviews on here. So I thought this would be good. It wasn't scary at all. Just a bunch of lame jump scares where the main actor, Duplass, hides and then jumps out and screams at the camera. the camera guy keeps making dumb decisions, and you'll be yelling at the screen for him to do the logical thing, but he doesn't do it. Too far-fetched to be plausible at all, and any normal person would be able to get out of that situation much easier. In the end, I found it more frustrating than frightening, which is a shame because the premise had good potential to be really creepy.
I just know whoever wrote that review was a man.
There's no way it wasn't. Because it's for you to say, oh, anybody could get out of that situation. Da, 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 da.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like women are so conditioned to be polite, to be nice, to not rock the boat, all of these things. So I think that if it had been a woman like cast as Erin, we would have a different movie. I think it would be even more violent because this movie really isn't that violent. I mean, yeah, there's an axe that goes through somebody's head, but it's so much more connected.
It's emotional.
Yes. And we don't get movies like that, like especially between two men, like, and the relationship that they had, like it's homoerotic and it's kind of like awkward and weird,
tensiony,
but like
and
it's not homophobic at all. Like Erin's at no point like, oh, don't hug me, like get off me, bro.
Right.
Like he just goes into it. Like these are, I mean, appears to be like two very intuitive, emotionally intelligent people that are just kind of connecting over this thing. But that's why it's so scary, because people in this context, men, will manipulate you.
Right.
They know what's going to get you. It's like watching Are You the One? And then there was this one guy who was like sleeping with this person and then slept with that person like 2 hours later in the same house.
Yeah.
And then he went out to the girl and he's like, I feel like what you and I have was really intimacy, but then what I was doing with that other person was just sex. And it's like, guys know the shit that they're saying, but they know how people are going to respond to it. And that's exactly what happened. That's why Erin is like, I'm just so lonely. I just want to clear the air. I just want to connect with you. And that's what people want, is they want a connection. So that's my soapbox, because this guy who wrote this review, and I'm saying it's a guy, is not understanding that the scares of the movie are not him going, boo, gotcha. Right. The scares of the movie are what people will do to manipulate each other in order to get the result that they want. And sometimes genuinely just nice people who are trying to not rock the boat and not get, hurt somebody else's feelings, they end up dead.
Right. Don't get got dead. Okay. Like don't let someone unalive you.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like, saying that he makes a dumb decisions. He drugs Joseph. He's trying to leave.
He called the police. They did nothing. He changed his locks. He went to a public place. He recorded himself. He had 911 on speed dial.
Should he have gone? Probably not. But for the situation for everything that did happen, he was smart about all of it.
Well, and Joseph had never caused him physical harm before this.
Correct.
So why would he expect Joseph was going to go to the extreme of physical harm and put an axe through his head?
And that's one of those things that it's like, hindsight's 2020. Like, he still broke into your house, he still stalked you, he still did all those things. But that's exactly it.
It's not physically violent.
So, and Joseph is like, what, 5'10", 180 pounds. Like, he's just like a normal skinny kid.
Like 40 something.
Yeah. Erin is
tall,
late 20s to mid 30s ish. He's like 6'5". Like, he's not a tiny dude.
Yeah.
Like, you would think between those two, like in a fight,
obviously Erin could overpower.
Erin could sit on him.
Maybe the fight that they had where Erin was able to overpower him and get away put too much confidence in himself.
Maybe.
He's like, well, if it gets physical, I got away once, I can get away again.
Yeah.
And maybe Joseph let him win to gain that confidence. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what happens.
Anything other than what happens. But I think it's really unfair to blame Erin for what happened to him. I think it's unfair to blame women for things that happen to them, because it's sometimes just what happens. Like, it is still always the fault of the aggressor. People are bad. Yeah.
Point blank. I don't care if, like, overall maybe people are good, but why should you take a chance?
Yeah.
Is that person worth the risk of finding out that no, they're bad and they're going to murder you? Probably not.
Yeah. And also, I mean, just another food for thought is Joseph already knew where Aaron lived. If Aaron didn't go, what could have happened?
Oh, I didn't think about that. Because you're right. It would, maybe Aaron went just to end it because he thought this is the only way to get him to stop stalking him.
Maybe.
I mean, it stopped him. He stopped stalking him.
He did stop stalking him. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, that, I guess, wraps up our very first episode. We have a few other movies that we've already watched and kind of have some prep for to be able to make podcasts for you, but we still would love to hear, what are you excited to see? What movies do you want us to do? One of the reasons why we started off with Creep, not only because we really like it, but everybody does. Halloween, Friday the 13th, blah, 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 blah. Like, we want to do like these other really interesting movies, and some of them are better than others.
We're more than willing to do bad movies because we'll talk shit all day long.
Yeah, I love to complain. I will find anything to complain about. But that's where we have for now. Just stay tuned for next time. Thanks for listening.